It's 34 inches. It's curved. It's ultra-wide. It's QD-OLED. And it's under $1,000. This is the Alienware AW3425DW. And no, nothing we just said about it is government propaganda. This stunning WQHD monitor checks all of the boxes we mentioned and more. But does it leave any boxes unchecked for you? Well, that's what we aim to find out right here, right now on Robeytech, after a word from our sponsors, us. This video is brought to you by our official Robeytech build mat. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll probably recognize it. We love these things. They're super thick and durable, and they're absolutely huge in size, measuring at 5.5 millimeters thick and 24 by 48 inches wide. This one that we have right here, man, this has been in the studio for like 4 years, and it's still holding up great, no problem. We've also included all sorts of useful graphics showing different PC form factor sizes, including schematic diagrams and connectors you'll encounter probably during your PC build. Not to mention, there's plenty of open space for screw and tool organization. We designed it like this so no matter what skill level of builder you are, it could be a helpful tool for pretty much everyone. Now, you can find these build mats for sale on our Newegg store, and it's a great way to support us directly if you enjoy the content we make. Thank you so much for your support, and let's get back to the video. Alienware delivered another monitor, and we're here to review it. Much like the AW2725Q we reviewed recently, the Alienware AW3425DW bears Alienware's AW30 design to celebrate 30 years of Alienware products with a new glyph design, updated UI, and absolutely more. And if you watched that video, you know that there's a lot to love about it. The HDR brightness and color reproduction, the overall aesthetic, and the footprint. It was a real showstopper, but it also came with its own limitations, which, depending on who you are and what you may need a monitor to do, that might leave you wishing on a different star. So we're going to take a look at the AW3425DW to talk about what it is, what it can do, and if it might be the right fit for your needs. And as we get rolling, we want to thank Dell/Alienware for letting us borrow this monitor for review. And yes, we'll be calling the Alienware AW3425DW the monitor for the rest of the review because I need to be able to breathe. Okay. Let's start with the price at the time of this video. Dell had the monitor listed for around $800, but we also saw outlets like Best Buy with a price closer to $750. When we look at other options from the same major players, there's a pretty broad spectrum of prices. Gigabyte has a $680 model, LG has one for around $1,300, MSI's competitor was around $900, and Asus's model, when we were last able to see it, was around $900 too. So in this landscape, the monitor actually falls at the lower end of the price range, but does that lower price tag equal lesser features? We should probably find that out by examining the specs. Starting with what's in the box, the monitor comes with a QD-OLED panel, a monitor stand and base alongside HDMI, DisplayPort and USB Type-A, 2 Type-B cables, a power cable, a microfiber cloth, woo, a QR code for reference, and an Alienware sticker. Man, I love stickers. Now for dimensions, the monitor is a little over 32 inches wide, a bit under 22 inches tall, and a little over 9 inches deep, with the stand attached. Now moving on to weight, the monitor weighs just under 18 pounds, or 8.14 kilograms assembled. Without the stand, the panel itself only weighs just over 11 pounds, or 5.1 kilograms. As for assembly, it's just like the other Alienware monitor reviewed. It's super straightforward and toolless if you're using the stand. If you're looking to use the monitor arm or wall mount, the monitor does support VESA 100 by 100 mounts. We did actually use the monitor arm during testing and found that you'll probably want some spacers for your mounting plate since the mounting holes are slightly recessed on this bad boy. Now moving on to connectivity, the monitor has 2 HDMI 2.1 ports, 1 DisplayPort 1.4 port, 1 USB Type-A port, 1 USB Type-C port with 15-watt power delivery, and 1 upstream USB Type-B port. In other words, the monitor has plenty of ports, but there are a few things to point out here. In our review of the Alienware AW2725Q, we got really excited to see eARC support in the first HDMI port. Sadly, that's missing from this, as is audio handling whatsoever. Now this omission could be a bit of a bummer if you're routing your audio through your monitor or if you plan on using one of the additional inputs for a gaming console, but for some of you, this isn't really a deal breaker. While we're on topic of omissions, the USB-C port is a downstream port, which means that like the AW2725Q, the monitor does not offer KVM support. So if you're looking to share a monitor, keyboard, and mouse between devices, this may or may not be the monitor for you. As far as resolution, the 34-inch monitor is classified as UWQHD. In other words, it's 1440p with broad shoulders like me. It's like the football player of monitors. What's even more awesome is that this is a QD-OLED monitor, so the colors are bright and vibrant. We're talking about 99.3% coverage of the DCI-P3 color gamut, 1000 nit max brightness, 1.5 million to 1 dynamic contrast, and over 1 billion colors supported. Now the monitor also has a number of adjustments for HDR settings to help tailor depth of color. This includes things like VESA Display HDR, True Black 400, multiple presets, and it even has its own custom HDR mode. And what we saw with color accuracy and gradients lined up with what we saw in the ISO monitor test. In ISO, we were able to look at contrasting colors and gradients, check out motion, and look at text samples, which text is usually a concern for people when they think about OLED monitors. If that last part is you, let me put some of your fears to rest. We actually used this monitor for a ton of script writing, including the script for this video. The only negative thing that we found here was that the monitor had to come back to the studio to record this video, which isn't really a negative at all because you get a review. Now, beautiful colors, legible text, and the stunning HDR are all great, but how does this monitor do in brightly lit spaces? This was actually a question that came up in one of our previous monitor reviews, and we definitely appreciate the call out. Alienware lists the monitor as having an anti-reflective coating on the screen to help cut down on screen glare. There is a little bit if you're using the monitor in a brightly lit room. That being said, we use the monitor as a daily driver device in a room that gets a lot of sun during the day, and there was never a moment that we felt like it was reflecting too much, but your tolerance may be a little bit different. But what about the motion? Well, the monitor has a 240 Hz refresh rate with certified NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility, AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, and VESA Adaptive Sync certification. So when it comes to variable refresh rate, I think you have 3 to choose from, which means you're more than covered. And that 240 Hz refresh rate actually came in pretty clutch in some of our gaming tests. Games like Expedition 33, Destiny 2, Space Marine 2, and more looked absolutely breathtaking on the monitor at high frame rates. It's good to know that even if your gaming skills aren't smooth, motion on this monitor will actually be. And if you're like Dean Carmen and you love a smooth segue, you should click those like, subscribe, and notification bells here at Robeytech and Robeytech Live for more tech reviews, PC builds, and a whole heap of punny references and dad jokes. By the way, Dean was the inventor of the segue. I know at least 2 of you got that joke. Now the monitor has an RGB Alienware logo on the back, as well as a power button that color can be customized with the on-screen display or within Alienware's Command Center software. Basically, if you want an alternative to changing the settings on the on-screen display for the monitor, Alienware Control Center does handle it as well. But like we said in our other video, we actually found the on-screen display for this monitor to be easy enough to control with the navigation stick because of just how cleanly Alienware actually laid it out. Speaking of cleanly laid out, we've cleanly laid out in the past that if you're afraid of OLED burn-in, modern OLEDs have provided several ways of keeping your panel as healthy as possible while providing peace of mind. Now the monitor comes with a 3-year warranty that includes OLED burn-in as well as dead pixel protection. On top of that, if a monitor needs to be replaced, the monitor comes with Dell's Advanced Exchange service. Now outside of the warranty, the monitor has pixel refresh features to help keep pixels healthy. This feature will prompt users to run pixel refresh every 4 hours of use, and the process typically takes between 6 or 8 minutes to complete. Okay, so we've shared a broad amount of information to match the monitor's girth and shared some of our experiences with it, but now we want to ask the big question. Is the Alienware AW3425DW worthy of becoming your next gaming monitor? Since everyone has different needs, I think we need to ask a couple of questions that should help you determine the answer. Question number 1, are there applications or games that you use on a regular basis that would benefit from the additional horizontal space? If you're someone who works with a lot of documents simultaneously, works with lengthy timelines and video edits, or you just want an extra wide desktop, the monitor is worth considering, especially if you're not ready to make a 49-inch commitment to a super ultrawide or even wanting to run multiple monitors. Now let's move on to question 2. Do the number and types of connections meet your needs? To ask this in a more specific way, are you going to be bothered by only having one USB Type-A port and one USB Type-C port to use on the monitor? Some of you might not like you can't pass audio from your console to a soundbar. Some might find the omission of KVM support or DisplayPort over USB-C a deal breaker. And others, you're not mad about the monitor trimming out the features that you'll never use. I personally have never used the connections on my monitor, but you know what? You might be different. And finally, question number 3, do you have the hardware to drive 1440p performance at a broader aspect ratio? If your current hardware is struggling to hit 60 FPS at 1440p or whatever your preferred frame rate is, on your existing monitor, you may not get the most out of the experience here with this monitor. While we aren't talking about super ultra wide dimensions here, your GPU will need to render more pixels for this monitor versus a standard 16:9 display. But again, only you can make the decision or judge how much you're going to be impacted by it. This is just a question that we think is absolutely worth asking. We do have a guide on super ultra wides that'll give you at least a ballpark so you can get an idea of what a system like this might be and what you might need to fit and run a monitor like this. So with all that in mind, here's where we land. There's a lot to love about this monitor. The colors of the OLED are beautiful, the design is amazing, and it has a lot to offer, especially with the small footprint of the base and the cable management channels. And if that 21:9 aspect ratio will enhance your gaming experiences and enable you to get more done with a wider screen, it just ticks even more boxes. If none of Alienware's design decisions or omissions bother you, we really don't have a reason not to recommend it, especially if you can get it on sale. And at its current $800 price point, it is competitive with similarly spec'd monitors from major brands while trimming out the ones that aren't as popular. But $800 is still $800, and only you can decide if the jump to OLED is worth the jump in monitor price for you. And with that, we're going to wrap this one up. We want to say a huge thank you again to Alienware for giving us some time with the AW3425DW for this review. But now it's time to know what you think. Are you a fan of ultra-wide monitors, and do you want to see more 21:9 monitors reviewed around here? Would you miss features like KVM or eARC if you don't have them? And is the price low enough where you're considering the jump to OLED? Let us know all that down in the comments below. And while you're down there, go ahead and slap that subscribe button, whip that like button, and ring the notification bell so that you get a notification each and every time we post a video like this, either here on Robeytech or also over at Robeytech Live. And if you want to continue the conversation, talk about the questions we asked in this video, or ask questions of your own, head over to our Discord server, discord.gg/Robeytech. It's an amazing place to meet other tech and PC enthusiasts about stuff just like this. You know what? You might just make a friend while you're there. Also, make sure you follow us at Robeytech on all your favorite social media platforms. And if you made it this far, I want to say a huge thank you for sticking with me throughout this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.